I'm pretty bored. Let's go with a pretty basic topic, but one that can incite some very interesting discussion in the comments section below. So let's turn over to the Detroit News website and take a look at this article here written by Ted Kulfan. He published this article a week ago on May 5th. Salary cap dip could help financially sound Red Wings in free agency. And in this article, he goes over the status quo of the NHL, the revenue, the salary cap. We all know this. If you're a fan of the NHL making money, and if you're a fan of advertising revenue, ticket revenue, fans in the building, all that stuff, you are going to be disappointed and scared. Because the way the NHL has been trending over the past few weeks depicts the idea that the salary cap may not rise, and teams could be in very serious financial trouble if things go the way they're trending towards. One of the teams that is not going to be in trouble, though, is the Detroit Red Wings. And as a result, Mr. Ted Kulfan in this article goes over some of the bigger free agents on some of the teams that probably would have a little bit more of a difficult time in signing them, and talks about how the Red Wings, if they wanted to, could potentially swoop in and steal some of these players. The list that he proposes goes as follows: D-man Alexander Pietrangelo from the St. Louis Blues, Livonia's Torey Krug from the Boston Bruins, who is also from Michigan State, Tyson Barrie from the Toronto Maple Leafs, as well as forwards Taylor Hall of the Arizona Coyotes and Mike Hoffman of the Florida Panthers. Goaltenders Robin Lehner from Vegas and Braden Holtby from Washington are among the big names available on the back end. Now obviously, Kulfan isn't going over here saying the Red Wings can sign all of them, but he is citing these players as the ones who are in the weirdest spots with their teams. Firstly, because of the money, because not all teams are going to have the necessary money to spend on players like these. Secondly, the relationship, because some teams like the Toronto Maple Leafs are in a spot where many are saying, yeah, there's no way they're re-signing Tyson Barrie. Yeah, Barrie's probably going to go to free agency. Yeah, the Leafs should probably trade his rights before he leaves. That's the rhetoric that I've been seeing from Maple Leafs fans everywhere, and as a result, his name is definitely entered into this conversation as well. But among these players, the Detroit Red Wings are in a spot where they honestly could re-sign Tyler Bertuzzi, Anthony Mantha, and Robbie Fabry, and still have enough money to sign one or maybe even two of these new free agents. Sure, I made a video a few weeks ago talking about how re-signing Jimmy Howard wouldn't be the worst move in the world, because if you're the Red Wings, you can afford to lose out on some more games and get a great draft pick in 2021. I know I said that, but that's only one perspective out of the infinite perspectives that you are allowed to have when it comes to debating hockey teams. Another perspective says, hey, the Wings were already terrible this past season. If they're able to re-sign Anthony Mantha, or let's say the Montreal Canadiens sign Mantha to a nice deal, and the Red Wings match the offer sheet or whatever, you get Alexis Lafreniere in the draft, and all of a sudden you add Moritz Seider from Grand Rapids, you add some other guys who are doing really well outside, and then you put in a free agent? This team could look incredibly different. Imagine having that stacked forward core of Mantha, Bertuzzi, Larkin, okay, the good guys you had last year, but you add an Alexis Lafreniere, and you add some other guys like, hey, Taylor Hall. Imagine if that guy comes to Detroit. The first overall curse will still live on, and you can get another first overall pick with this player in your lineup. Mike Hoffman adds a scoring touch. Imagine this guy playing with Alexis Lafreniere. You could do some major things to your Red Wings lineup if you decided to go in on free agency and use the money that you do have to re-sign these players. Or, of course, you could go the alternate route and commit to tanking once again. You can re-sign Trevor Daley and Jonathan Ericsson. You could sign some other plugs. You can re-sign Jimmy Howard and lose Anthony Mantha to an offer sheet. That way, you end up with more draft picks, and you end up with better draft picks because your team sucks even more. Imagine getting the first overall pick in 2 consecutive years. That would be crazy as well, but as an immediate hockey fan today, it's something that would definitely pain a lot of Red Wings fans, myself included. But obviously, though, there are many differing perspectives on this. It's not just, do you want the Red Wings to win next year, or do you want them to lose next year? If you want them to lose, there's a much higher likelihood of them being able to lose better than there is of them being able to win better if you go the winning route and sign some good free agents, etc. If you go the winning route, it's a long-term game. You're not going to see an immediate huge jump from last in the league to the middle of the pack in one season. It's going to be gradual, but seeing an improvement nonetheless is something that I think many Red Wings fans can say is, in general, a positive thing. Let's say you're able to get 2 of this pool of players. Let's say you get, I don't know, a nice good defender like a Torey Krug, and you get a nice goaltender like, I don't know, just pulling a name out of thin air, or Robin Lehner. All of a sudden, your goaltending tandem consists of Jonathan Bernier, who was not bad this past season. I mean, statistically speaking, he was bad, but let's face it, he could have been so much worse. And a Robin Lehner who at times, throughout the past few seasons, looked like a legitimate Vezina candidate. There's room to improve if you add 2 of these players to your team, but where you choose to add them definitely changes up the dynamic. If you add a right-handed defenseman like Tyson Barrie, you're pushing Moritz Seider down in the depth chart. Is that something that you would want to do for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years? Or would you rather have a Moritz Seider get up in the lineup a little bit easier, not having a Tyson Barrie-like player as an obstacle to overcome down the line? There are questions to be answered for sure, and positional needs are always going to be a part of it, but if you want to, let's say, put Moritz Seider in Grand Rapids for another year or so, signing a short-term contract for a guy like Barrie doesn't seem too outlandish. Obviously, among these names, some of them are more likely to hit free agency than others. There is a lot of talk going on what the St. Louis Blues are going to do. They're literally trying to re-sign their captain. Do I say the likelihood of Pietrangelo entering free agency is high? I don't know. I would probably say nah. There's probably an incentive within the St. Louis Blues organization to say, hey, we need to re-sign this guy. I don't really care what it takes, but just get it done. So obviously I'm not going to sit here and say that I want Pietrangelo, Krug, and Taylor Hall to all become Red Wings by the time next season rolls around, but the idea of free agency does exist, therefore we better talk about it. So, with all of that established, I would like to turn the floor to you. Comment down in the comment section below, out of these players that we have talked about here from this article on DetroitNews.com, Pietrangelo, Krug, Barrie, Hall, Hoffman, Lehner, and Holtby, who do you think are the top 3 most desired players in your opinion? Now, for the Red Wings, it's definitely going to be interesting if they sign 1 or maybe 2 of them. I don't really see them signing more than 2 of them, so for the sake of keeping things brief, just comment down below who you think your top 3 most desired are in this respect, and explain why you would want them as well. I would take a look at these, read, and reply to them. As for my opinion, though, I honestly would love to go all offense. I would be so interested in seeing a Taylor Hall and a Mike Hoffman and a Tyson Barrie on the blue line putting up all these points with Alexis Lafreniere. That sounds great now, doesn't it? It doesn't guarantee any more wins than what you were able to do this past season, because obviously the Red Wings still let in a whole bunch of goals, which is not great. But at the same time, if you're going to lose, why not score a whole bunch of goals in the process? If you're going to lose, why not give Alexis Lafreniere the opportunity to hit 60 points in his freshman year, right? That's kind of the perspective I'm looking at it, because if the Red Wings are able to lose some more games and get a higher draft pick for next year, that would be awesome as well. Building towards the future in the best possible way, in my opinion, is through the draft, so bolstering up your draft lottery odds for the next few years certainly isn't a bad thing. But that's just my own opinion. Obviously, I know some people would love to go the defensive route, add a Krug, add a Barrie, add a Lehner, and put yourself in a position to win more games, because at the end of the day, winning games is what makes the fans happy. But comment down below what you think. That's what the comment section is there for. I'm looking forward to reading all of your replies. I hope you enjoyed this very simple commentary on the Red Wings. Obviously, I said it at the beginning, this is a basic topic, I know that, but sometimes you gotta ease off the very deep stuff once in a while and keep things light from time to time, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video, social.Trost99, and bye.